This month on Diecast Time, I crack open a very special IndyCar-inspired Supercars model. After the international component was taken out of the Gold Coast 600, where we usually saw a lot of IndyCar drivers come across and co-drive for that event, it had all died down really about getting guys like that over and racing in our category. But in early 2019, the rumour mill started that some IndyCar stars were going to come across as a wildcard for Bathurst. Then once the rumours died down, it was announced that it would be Alexander Rossi and James Hinchcliffe from the IndyCar series in a Walkinshaw Andretti United entry. It did seem a little bit strange at the time that those guys were the ones chosen. Alex Rossi, of course, was driving for Andretti over there, but then the Hinchcliffe thing, other than them being mates, was a little bit, but then obviously came out that McLaren were buying into the Schmidt-Peterson team that Hinch drove for at the time, and that started to make a little bit more sense where those names kind of came from. But yeah, it was, although you probably thought about it and went, these guys, they're probably not going to do the best with the experience, the equipment at the time. Walkinshaws were definitely not a front-running team at all. No testing, etc. These guys aren't going to do too well. And yeah, they didn't. They really underestimated the challenge. So they ended up qualifying second last. Rossi was the one who got to qualify. It was a wet qualifying session as well. He did out-qualify Jack LeBrock, who was at Techno Autosports at the time. But those guys were a long way. It was a bit interesting why they were so far off the pace that day. But anyway, in the race, they largely kept themselves out of trouble, ended up finishing 18th, 2 laps down. But when they lost those 2 laps, that was the lap 135, now infamous safety car period, where the Debris call was made to Fabian Coulthard after they'd buried the car in the Murray's Corner sand trap, and yeah, the rest is history. But I'm trying to keep this one short and sharp because some people have commented that yeah, they just want to see the model. So we'll see how it goes, and yeah, let's crack this box open and see how she looks. Quick look over the box. Really good box art on this one. Really shows the car well. Some really great Bianchi boxes around this time. Number 26 of 150. This is a very limited edition and she looks really good. Really good paint job on this car. It's a bit hard to see. There has been some criticisms with the Bathurst winner, the Mostert-Holdsworth Bathurst winner from last time, about the way the car sits. This probably sits touch high in the front, but definitely the back sits a lot better than the Bathurst winner there. Just a really good looking car. I did enjoy the paint job on this one. It did stand out from the crowd. As with the previous one, full opening, front and rear, both doors open down each side. Very hard to get a proper look inside there with camera, but you can get up inside the boot there, and yeah, quite a good looking car. I'm not a big fan of the kind of sticker on there with the fuel tanks, but yeah, that's probably the biggest criticism of these ones. Not sure how easy that is to see on the camera, but I did have a little bit of trouble when I opened the door. The handle came a bit loose, and you can kind of see there with the paint where the doors must have been stuck together and the paint cracked a little bit. Yeah, it's not the best, but these things happen sometimes. You can see there that the panel gap on the back door is a lot bigger, whereas this one is very close. That's where sometimes I do think the sealed body ones are better, because you do get better panel gaps, because even on the bonnet there, it's not as close as what we'd like to be, but if you stand back a little bit, they look really good. then just next to each other, this is what I was talking about with how the back sits. It's a little bit hard to tell there, but you can see how much higher the rear wing is on the Bathurst winner, and that just shows, see, there's a lot of air there between the tyre and the guard, whereas that is a lot more how the actual race cars sit, so it looks a lot more genuine there. So that's my unboxing and review of the Rossi and Hinchcliffe Bathurst Wildcard. This car was a bit special to me because two of my favourite IndyCar drivers, I do recommend checking out their podcast, Off Track with Hinch and Rossi. If you are into IndyCars, it is a really good one. Although maybe even if you're not into IndyCars, because as the name suggests, it is Off Track with Hinch and Rossi. Looks really good next to the Bathurst winner there. There is, some of the joins are a little bit, yeah, just slightly out, but you do get that with the opening parts models. I'm much happier to have these models like that with a little bit to complain about rather than, you know, not having them at all. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Have you got this one in your collection? I'm sure a lot of people don't because it was in such limited numbers, and it does seem to be reasonably high values on the secondhand market for this one because of those low volume numbers there, but it was definitely one no doubt I wanted in my collection, especially being yeah, the special significance of two IndyCar guys coming across for a wild card, and it was for the team that was HRT, which growing up was my favourite team back in the day, so it's going to sit proudly there with the Bathurst winner, and when everything kind of comes to fruition, when I have my big model cabinet, it will sit there with a couple of the other Bathurst winners from the Clayton Business Park there. But yeah, down in the comments, let me know what you think of it, and until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.